Giving
Well,
you
no,
the floor.
we want to say where does Jack McBain fit into this lineup and why? And I think these are some of the things that Jack McBain brings and some of the things that I think he needs to improve on in his second season. And you hope that the bar continues to raise. So we're going to start right off with his season from last year. Let's go to his goals.
God, it's almost like a headstone there for a moment there.
Oh my God.
God,
2022 to 2023. Jack McBain, we barely knew you.
wow.
That was when he made a rounded up salary.
But I wanted to look at his 12 goals, and I think 12 goals. I think this year McBain's got to look for 15 to 20. I think McBain can be a 20-goal scorer in this league because I think how well he gets to the front of the net. When you look at this graphic
This is crazy.
to show where his goals are distributed, the red circles, and there are 6 goals where it just says net front, and we'll get into that in a minute. Blue is net drive. 2 green empty netters literally from the same place,
That's
and
funny.
S is a shot. So let's break
Wow.
these down on what happened.
Interesting.
We're going to throw out the 2 empty net goals, but let's look at the things that he does well. The first thing he does well is he gets to the net front. So of his 12 goals, 6 of them, he's literally standing near the blue paint, tips it, goes off him, or he's able to take a rebound and tap it into the empty net. So what he does well is he understands once the play gets back to the point or to in a shooting position, Jack McBain gets to the blue paint. And if we had the ability to show video, but we're not Bally's, we would show how he beats his defender to the blue paint, how he pushes off his defender to the blue paint to get that positioning. And thirdly, he's really strong on his stick because what defenders are taught is to get your stick under that player's stick and lift it up. Well, Jack's tough and he's strong and he's able to keep his stick on the ice to tap in these easy goals. So there's 6 goals where it looks like he literally just taps it into an empty net because he's in the right place and he uses his body to create space.
Yeah.
No, I just think you were going to say something. Like, do we
I was
talk
gonna
about
ask,
advanced analytics?
You talked about him being
I hate us.
okay. You mentioned you think he can be a 20-goal scorer in this league. How does he get to that point? What does he need to add to his repertoire?
I think this is a part of it, but I think one of it as this team continues to progress and he plays with different players, and we're going to see that this season where I think he's going to get the opportunity to play with better players more consistently. I believe that whether it's, we talked about Krause and Michelli, whether it's Zucker or Kerfoot, I think the wings right now are going to help McBain take that next step offensively because he does get to the right areas, and getting to the right areas is half the battle. We talked about Barrett Hayton's progression and how his points started to raise. It's because he got to the blue paint with Schmaltz and Keller on the ice. If McBain can do that with players that can feed the front of the net, I think you're going to see his point total go up, whether it's assists from getting pucks out of that area onto people's hands, or if it's going off his body and he's cleaning up those rebounds. So I think that'll help him.
What about his actual shot, Petey?
We'll get to that in 2 slides.
Okay.
You clearly didn't read the slides.
No, he
when they
did.
came
And he's
through.
doing it to me on purpose because I didn't watch his slide. Do we go to the next one?
Watched it together.
So the net drive, the other thing we talked about was his skating and his ability to, this is part of getting to the net, but we talked about his skating ability. He does drive the net hard. And when you look at these slides, there's something to look at. He keeps his stick on the ice. And in that top picture on the top right, he's driving the net. And because he keeps his stick on the ice and he drives that far post, he's able to be a passing option and he's able to tap the puck in. The other 2, he is fighting off the defender and he's able to drive the net on his own. He's not afraid to go to the blue paint. And so when he doesn't have the puck, he needs to get there for tips and screens. When he does have the puck, he needs to drive. And we talked about that during the season when players like Keller, 2 years ago, Keller wouldn't drive the net. Last year, he did, and look at his increase in point total. I think Jack McBain needs to continue to have confidence in his skating ability to be able to drive to that blue paint. And then we go to, is that what was next? Oh, shoot. I thought it was his shot.
Well, we can skip
Okay,
ahead
his
to
shot. Only one of his 12 goals came from a shot. And when I mean a shot, it was outside of the dots and above the hash marks. He is going to have to, I think he's going to have to shoot more. And we talked about that with Michelli and his ability to shoot more. I think that may happen with Jack McBain. I think he's going to have confidence in his shot to shoot more because his shot isn't a bad shot. I think he needs to use it more if we're going to see his point total increase.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a confidence, that he didn't have the confidence in his shot, or he felt like he needed to just get to the net front and he didn't take those shots. But here you can see the picture on the screen now is the only goal he scored from outside the top of the circles. And we're saying by a foot it's outside the top of the circle.
85 shots in 82 games. So he's basically getting one shot
a game, and he needs to get more.
Yeah.
I think if he's going to step up his offense, he needs to move up and get more shots on goal. And I think that one comes with confidence, two, who you play with, and three, your role. Yeah. And he may get more of an offensive role as this goes on. So I think he needs to shoot the puck more. I think his shot is effective, but as you can see, only one goal came off of a shot this entire season.
Watch him score a goal from a shot in the first game of the season.
Right. Because
the second thing that I think we talked about is offense, and I think that can improve. I think he is a 15 to 20 goal scorer, and I think that that's what this team will look for him this year. He is about his physical play, and when you talk about his physical play, my goodness, like the numbers on his physical play, he led the Coyotes to 304 hits. Second, O'Brien with 203. 100 more hits than O'Brien. He led all NHL rookies in hits by over 100. Over 200 hits. He was fourth in the entire league in hits and second in hits by a forward.
Wow.
So his ability to be physical and change this game with his physicality and make hits was elite. He's second in all forwards in the entire NHL last year in hits. So his physicality and his ability to hit is a huge part of his game. And if we go to the next slide, I want to show what that helps this do. When you look at two things his physical play can bring. On the forecheck, he skates well enough that he can be the first player on the forecheck. By hitting and being physical, he's able to, in this top example, he's able to get on the puck quickly, and he's able to separate the defenseman from the puck and allow the Coyotes to maintain offensive zone pressure. I think this is going to be a huge part of his game this season. Second set of slides, he's got Michelli on the ice. This is after the Bugstead trade. He tracks down the puck carrier, eliminates him along the wall, and allows Michelli to pick up the puck and again maintain more offensive zone time. This has to continue to be his strength. Along with that, I think one of the things he needs to do is he's going to have to learn when to hit. I think the sheer number is great, but there are times when he has to not hit, where he can get back in the play we talked about earlier. Two, I think he needs to learn a little bit, and I'm nitpicking his game now, where he has to learn on his angling. Sometimes he approaches the player from the wrong side of the puck, and you got to stay on the defensive side of the player. Those little details will come with experience. Because the third part, and the next part of his physical play, is his ability to fight. There are two players that have more fighting majors than McBain this season. That was O'Brien and Brown, two players that dropped the gloves a lot. I think McBain sticks up for his teammates. I think they weren't stage fights. They were protecting players that he was on the ice with.
Sure.
And as this team develops young talent and tries to move those young players forward, and there are a lot of young players on this team, you need someone out there that can protect their teammates. And we've talked about O'Brien being in and out of the lineup this year. McBain's going to have to take a bigger chunk of this, whether it's through his hitting and not dropping the gloves, or if it comes to it, he's going to have to drop the gloves fighting too.
That fight against the Chicago Blackhawks, I remember we were all at that game, and our jaws dropped at how tough this guy is. And I think it's underrated. Like, he's a tall, big guy, and he just, because he has so many other skills in his arsenal, such as goal scoring and playmaking, that he's not just this, hitting, fighting role player guy. Like, he kind of has a lot going.
He's still going to get stronger too.
Yeah,
as he physically matures. A couple more points on the hits. I don't know if you look these up for all time. 304 hits is the third most all time by a rookie in the NHL since they started tracking the stat. It's also a Coyotes record.
Yes, I remember
304 hits.
Beating
for the franchise.
For the franchise, all time.
Didn't he beat Lawson Krause or something?
You see what we just did there, Craig? And we worked in tandem. You provided
advanced
stats.
Yeah.
See, it can work together. We just need to communicate, and then we can work together on advanced stats. I do think that this is going to be his role, and that's why I like him in that 3-hole. That I think that his ability to be that physical, protect his teammates, I think it's going to allow him to get more ice time this season.
Yeah.
So I think that, along with the next thing, I think is going to allow him to get a lot of ice time. So one of the next things he does is he kills penalties. He was fourth in forwards on this team in penalty kill ice time per game, per 60 minutes, behind Fisher, Bugstead, and Krause. So he's in the second set of PK guys jumping over the boards. And with Christian Fisher gone, you're going to have to look that now McBain's going to have to play a bigger role there. So you're going to look at the two centermen there. You're going to have Bjugstad and McBain are going to be your top two centermen for killing penalties. And he's going to have to get good at it. We talked about his ability to read plays. No place is more important in a game than killing penalties. You have to be able to move your feet. You have to be able to read plays, and you have to have good stick work. Those three things are imperative. He is only going to get better at that role.
Does his simple reach help him in this regard?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can see in that example, in those pictures, is his ability to get sticks into shooting lanes and passing lanes because of his size and his reach. And he's also quick enough to get to those spots because big guys usually don't move that well. I think he's going to be a high-end penalty kill for this team. And if you want ice time in this league, you have to find a niche either on the power play or the penalty kill. Have to.
I love watching elite penalty killers. The reason I asked, I thought of Michael Grabner immediately.
Yes.
And Michael Grabner isn't as tall as Jack McBain, but he had a long reach. He used an unusually long stick when he played the game, and that was one of his secret weapons as a penalty killer. And then, God help you if he actually got his stick on the puck because he's so fast.
He is the fastest player that's ever played in the Kachina. But the other thing that Michael Grabner did is over time, he knew how to read the play and he knew where to be, where that puck was going to go. He was an extremely talented penalty killer. McBain is good. He's a good penalty killer. But that comes with doing repetitions and playing that position a lot. And I think he will continue to get better as a penalty killer as he learns to read offenses and power plays, as his career goes on.
All right. Next thing.
Well, let's talk about some things he needs to improve on. If he is going to be the guy and he's going to be that big third line center that can be a defensive stalwart on this team, he has to get better at faceoffs. It's a huge part of playing center ice, and his faceoffs needed to improve greatly. He finished third on this team in faceoffs with 44.1%, which is extremely low. You want to be closer to 50%.
A couple questions on this. People will talk about youth being a big part of this. Just experience makes you a better faceoff man. So I want your thoughts on that. And then, and I know this doesn't apply to everyone because there have been big centermen who are very effective on faceoffs, but being lower to the ice sometimes can be an advantage. So how does he mitigate? How does he make his height a strength? In the
Two things happen here.
Yeah.
One is, you're right, reps are going to be huge for this. The more experienced centermen in this National Hockey League, they're not the biggest, they're not the strongest, they're not the quickest. They're the smartest. And they know how to take a face up. They know how to exploit the opposing centerman's weaknesses because they've taken so many. He needs more reps. That will be number one. And that just doesn't mean game reps. He needs to spend. This is something he needs to do every day after practice, consistently dropping pucks.
It's more than that, though, isn't it? Watching other guys too, learning tricks.
Absolutely. How to use your feet, where to position your hands. What does this guy traditionally do? It's a lot of homework going into a game. We had one of the things that when I was in that role still is the video coach, one of the things that the experienced centerman, I'll tell you, it was Derek Stepan. He would, every game, he wanted forehand and backhand faceoffs from all the centermen of the opposing team. And so he'd take the iPad and he'd watch faceoff after faceoff after faceoff of those players. But then what he did is he grabbed Christian Dvorak and he said, "Hey, come over here, sit with me." And then they'd go through it together. And Stepan, as the veteran leader, would help educate the younger centerman on here's things to look for. Look how he's positioning his feet. Look how his hand slides down his sticks. And I think that with centermen like Bjugstad on this team, I think you're going to, who was over 50% last season, I think you're going to look McBain to look to a player like that to help get better. When you talk about size, his strength can be a huge factor in this. And it's not the low center of gravity. You could see back in the days where guys could put their hands on the puck or use their skates and grab more. I think it was more important to be able to get lower to the ground. I still think with his strength and his reach and his stick speed, I still think he can be a centerman that can get closer to 50%.
Study the Masters, though.
Yeah.
Study Patrice Bergeron. I'll start crying again because he's retired.
The other thing I think,
unbelievable face.
The other thing, and we're not picking apart his game. The other thing I think he needs to work on is, we talked about his speed already, but we talked about his ability to make quicker decisions. And there are three situations here where he has the puck, where he either has to dump the puck in, or he's got to make a play, or he's got to protect the puck. So if you look at the first example here, the Vancouver forward is bearing down on him. Instead of making the puck and delivering the puck into the zone and dumping the puck, he allows that forward to make body contact, separate him the puck, and then the puck's going the other way. On the second example, it's a 1-on-2. And Craig knows, and a 1-on-2 with the blue line, You got to dump the puck in. You got to dump the puck in. You're going to get beat. So he allows the back checker to rub him out. Colorado gets a puck. They're going back the other way. The third example is in the defensive zone instead of a hard rim or protecting the puck. With his size and strength, he's got to learn to protect the puck a little bit better because in this example, again, he's pushed off the puck a little too easy because he doesn't make a quick decision and Winnipeg ends up with the puck. So I think his puck decisions need to be a little bit quicker. And I know that's being nitpicky, but when you want to set that bar higher as an NHL player, those are some things to look for. So when you watch Jack McBain next season, here's what you're looking for. Getting to the blue paint. You got to get to the blue paint, whether it's off the rush or it's in 5-on-5 play. Beat your player to the blue paint. Watch for him to do that. 2, look for him when the puck's on a stick. Look for him to move that puck, whether it's dump the puck or move the puck quickly. And then look how he positions himself defensively when he's physical. Is he staying between the puck carrier and his own goaltender? Is he hitting on the defensive side of the puck? I think the bar is extremely high for Jack McBain, and I expect him to have a much better season this year. I do think he's going to get 15 to 20 goals, but I don't think he's going to get the 300 hits again because I think he's going to learn when and why he's doing those physical hitting moves.